日本時間3月19日午後7時、米国時間同日、東京ドームにて MLB2025 年シーズン開幕戦、ロサンゼルス、ドジャース対シカゴ、カブスが開催された。情報提供、ロサンゼルス、タイムズ。最注目の主役は、ついに MLB デビューを果たした日本球界の至宝、佐々木朗希だ。メジャーデビュー戦という重圧と東京ドーム特有の緊張感からか、序盤は制球難に苦しみ、3回には満塁のピンチで押し出し四球を与えるなど、危機的状況に追い込まれた佐々木。しかしその直後、圧巻の奪三振で窮地を脱し、堂々たる復活劇を演じてみせた。米国メディア、ロサンゼルス、タイムズは、佐々木はまるでショットガンのようだ。一瞬乱れながらも、決定的瞬間には最速 162km の強し速球で圧倒した。と絶賛。試合はドジャースが6-3で快勝し、東京での開幕シリーズを完全制覇した。また佐々木の MLB デビュー戦は、困難を乗り越えたドラマチックな開幕として日米メディアの注目を浴び、今季の活躍に期待が高まっている。それでは引き続き、日本語字幕付きで映像をお楽しみください。
Around the horn is too like lowbrow.
Oh,
you know,
he had to win intellectual minds with you on Dodger Debate.
I still don't like the title of this show.
Hello and welcome back to Dodger Debate. One more time here from Tokyo, Japan, and I'm going to call this the Tokyo Dome Club because we've upgraded our seating tonight, Dylan. The Dodgers just defeated the Chicago Cubs once again to complete a two-game sweep. They win 6-3 on a night that Roki Sasaki made his MLB debut. Quite a debut it was for 3 innings. Shohei Ohtani hit a home run, his first in an MLB game back here in Japan. And the Dodgers are going home with a perfect record, even though they didn't have Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman in either of these games. Freddie Freeman didn't play again today. Dylan, what stuck out to you about tonight's game, about this trip, and just kind of where the team is at right now as they go back stateside?
Cubs really suck. They're a terrible baseball team.
We've watched 18 innings. We've talked about Japan is being painted blue, and your first takeaway is that the Cubs aren't any good. We knew that. We watched all of last year.
I know, but this is like Globetrotters and bringing on like the Washington. What do they call them?
Jeez, the Generals.
Generals, man. Like, I mean, at least like bring somebody to put up a fight. You know, I know. I mean, I guess they were hoping for Buster Douglas to strike light, you know, catch lightning in a bottle again.
I think they were hoping for Roki Sasaki to knock himself out. Actually, was kind of the game plan tonight.
Okay, but in all seriousness, I mean, look, this is, you know, we can kind of get into all the little things that are going to kind of decide where this season goes, you know. But the one thing, you know, to me is that at the end of the day, this was about Ohtani, right? Ohtani is the reason why this week was as big as it was. You know, Ohtani is the reason all this advertising exists here, right? Ohtani is the reason, again, you know, and I think at the end of the day, you could tell, right? The fans were here to see Ohtani, right? When he got intentionally walked that one time in an obvious, you know, empty base situation, the fans were very upset. They were here to watch Ohtani hit a home run.
They were upset when he got walked in an unobvious situation later by accident in the ninth inning.
Yeah, and you know, to me again, right, and the fact that he could, like, in that type of environment, right, knowing everybody's kind of here to watch him hit a home run, to actually be able to hit a home run, that's kind of what makes this guy special, I think, right? And again, you know, I think various sports, you know, certain sports, it's kind of, right, you have a basketball superstar, it's easier to kind of build a marketing thing around him. You know how it's going to go for the most part, unless the guy suffers like a devastating injury, right? Sure. You know, baseball is kind of one sport where it's tough, right? Because performances kind of fluctuate. You look at the All-Star team on a year-to-year basis, the turnover on these things is kind of crazy from year to year, right? You know, you check out an All-Star team from like 4 or 5 years ago. These guys are, you know, some of these guys are at the end of benches now just because, again, a little injury just kind of changes things. And the fact that you can kind of have this presence like this, right? I mean, it's kind of, you got to go back to, you know, Mike Trout when he had that stretch before he started getting injured. Before that, maybe like Barry Bonds, you know. But I think in both of those cases, you know, in Trout's case, you probably had
Albert Pujols,
right player in the wrong market, you know. And you know, you could argue obviously Ohtani earlier in his career was also in the wrong market. Yeah, because I mean, if Ohtani's playing with the Angels, this isn't happening either. You know, it's the right player right personality, because
it's not happening like this.
Right. Yeah. And so to me, it just kind of, again, but it all, in the end, all these things, right? The fact that people think Ohtani's good looking, or that he's charismatic, or whatever it is. None of these things matter if he doesn't hit. And the fact that he can kind of continually create moments, to me, is just kind of, I know we've talked about this. I mean, we were talking about this just a few days ago, right? I mean, this is just kind of, it's getting almost boring to talk about, but it's true. He just keeps doing the same thing, which is why I'm going to write the same column that I wrote 4 days earlier.
Inside how our night was going, Dylan did stop himself tonight mid-story. He goes, "Damn it." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I'm plagiarizing myself from 2 days ago." But I mean, it's true. I think it's even on like a game-to-game basis, right? I think one of the problems like baseball has being sold to a national audience, as some sort of national TV product, some appointment viewing thing, is that even like players who are consistently good year over year over year, it's hard to know when those moments will happen.
Right.
This is why like Sunday Night Baseball is tough, because you just you throw it on and it's just kind of random what's going to happen in any one game. And that's what is really interesting about this guy, especially over the last year now with the Dodgers, is just how consistently, like you said, he has delivered in these moments, and how he can. Dave Roberts described him as like a superhero tonight, and it's because it's just something that you don't see with players who can just tap into this mode. Where again tonight, like he comes up to the plate for the first time, and you tap me, and you go, "Well, he's going to swing first pitch here," because he's trying to make it happen. And usually in baseball, I think we've talked about this last year, when you try harder, it typically is going to lead to worse performance. He's like the one player who can try harder on demand and also deliver the results. And it made for like one of the coolest moments, I think, of this whole week, him hitting that home run right there.
That's the thing too. Baseball, you're kind of limited by the at bats, right? I mean, you can't, Luka Doncic has an bad shooting night. Well, you can just keep shooting more,
right.
And as a fact, even if Luka's shooting,
and he will,
right? Yeah, right. And he'll still score like 25 points, and as a fan, you're like, well, I got to see Luka Doncic scores 25 points,
right.
And you're right to your point. So many times, I think you kids, right, ask their parents, take me to a game, and it costs so much money these days, and you go, and your favorite player is like 0 for 3 with a walk. Yeah, it's cool that you got to see him, but you would rather see this. And everybody that was in this stadium tonight, and anybody who was at one of the various watch parties that were around the city,
shout out to the people in LA that were up at 3 in the morning at Casa last night. I didn't even see that happening, but that was cool. All right, on the other end of the predictability scale,
yes,
we have Roki Sasaki, who, you know what?
Shotgun Roki.
We were talking about this during the game. It's like he's a shotgun kind of pitcher in every sense of the word, because one, it's explosive when the ball's coming out of his hand, right? Like, it was actually fascinating to watch the start of this game. He comes out, he looks kind of nervous. They play this just like ridiculous hype video on the scoreboard minutes before he takes the mound about how he's the best young pitcher ever. He's Darvish, Ohtani, and Yamamoto rolled into one. Like, I think you were jealous of the kind of hyperboles they were throwing at this guy. But he comes out, he pumps 100, 100, 100, 101. He snaps off a couple splitters. He gets out of the first inning unscathed, and it's like, okay, this looks really good. And then suddenly the command goes away. He's missing arm side. He's putting guys on base. But it was all just kind of like fascinating, right? And the good news for the Dodgers and for him is that he got out of the danger. He was able to get out of the second inning on a double play. He only gave up 1 run in the third, even though he walked the bases loaded and then walked in a run and was behind in the count basically all night long. But the key moment for him in his start was at the end of that third inning with the bases loaded and 1 out. He's able to strike out Michael Busch with good fastball command, and then strike out Matt Shaw with a couple sliders, which is a pitch we talked about could be really important for him this year, trying to adjust to the big leagues and have a third weapon to go to. I mean, what stood out to you just about like the spectacle of seeing him on the mound, seeing him here, and what you can take away from this as it pertains to the rest of his rookie season?
I mean, yeah, I don't know how this is going to go. Right, I don't know if he's going to be Doug Gooden or Bobby Miller, or just kind of someone that kind of bounces in between. But whatever it is, it's just fun to watch, right? I mean, and I don't think I'm just saying this because I've been following this kid for a while or whatever. I really think, and again, he's right. He's got like an interesting, like nice, smooth delivery. Again, like you said, it's explosive. It's just really, he's really interesting to watch. I can't really.
He's grunting out there.
I would, honestly, like I would you know, and I know I'm going to catch. I can't. All the words that are coming are all bad words, so you know, whatever. You guys can kind of figure it out. You know, I know I'll take some flack for this,
but like cuss words.
I know I'll take some flack for this, but no, like I would rather watch him right now at least than like any player in baseball, and that includes Ohtani. Like I have not been this interested.
What did we just spend the first 10 minutes of the show talking about?
Well, I know that's like incredible too, whatever. But like in terms of just, I don't know. Like my eyes just kind of go to him in the way. Like I haven't watched the last time I was like this engaged in like a player's like every movement was Puig. You know, and I'm not saying this as any kind of character judgment on Roki Sasaki, who by all accounts is a very soft-spoken, quiet, nice young man who's overcome great tragedy in his life.
That's true. You can read about it in the LA Times.
You can read about it in the LA Times. But it was kind of like, no, like when Puig came up, it was kind of like that, right? It's kind of, you didn't know what was going to happen. This just kind of, this otherworldly athlete, you know, and that's the thing. I mean, with Sasaki, you look at that high kick delivery. Now, we did see one issue, right, is that like he's slow to the plate. Man gets on first. They are going to run. I mean, this is just the beginning of this, right? This is against a garbage team. And they stole 2 bases like it was nothing, you know, with a very overpaid manager, I think. But
whoa. At least not the highest paid anymore.
Not the highest paid. But anyway, I just find him kind of fascinating, just because the you know, even if he's throwing ball after ball after ball, I mean, he wasn't even getting close, right? I mean, these were not even
they were non-competitive.
They were non-competitive pitches, you know.
And even Craig Counsell said, right, like we forced him to throw strikes, and when he didn't, like stuff was happening, and he was in danger.
Right. You know, that said, like he kind of back to the shotgun thing, right? A shotgun occasionally hits like he hits a clear target, and he would hit these pitches like right. I mean, the first inning he wasn't having command problems, but you know the obviously the pitch to Suzuki to strike him out in the first inning. I mean that thing was like unhittable. And then you know even after those walks, right when he kind of got those 2 punch outs at the end, you know some of those early count pitches even were like no one's going to hit that, you know. And so to me it just makes it just kind of must see viewing. I mean assuming this kind of trends more positively than negatively. I think LA's going to like fall in love with this kid. He's just interesting to watch.
Well, it's kind of like the anti-Yamamoto in some ways, right? Who's like can be so precise and at his best so consistent. I think tonight we got an extreme version of Roki, right? Like this was obviously a very emotional setting. A lot of pressure on him, a lot of adrenaline. If there's a night where your command is going to be kind of wildly inconsistent, like it'll be in these kind of settings. But yeah, this is, I think, a good microcosm of how his season might look, which is like these moments of, it really is like, especially seeing him in person in a real game, you know, in a non-spring training atmosphere, like it was really interesting. I thought the crowd, you know, when he was struggling to get the ball over the plate and was in some tough situations, like they were kind of encouraging him almost. Like I thought that was a really interesting dynamic. And yeah, to me, like the big thing is that in that key spot in the third, it's not just that he got out of it, but he got out of it with the fastball command, showing some real progress with the slider, which up to that point tonight hadn't looked that sharp. And I think kind of showing Dave Roberts and his teammates in the organization, like, look, obviously there was a lot going on tonight, but in the moment where it really mattered at a key juncture in the game, he was able to execute pitches. And I think that's something that for all the different highs and lows he's going to go through this year, if he can do that in big spots and get himself out of some tough spots, like we saw it with Yamamoto early last year in some of the games where he did struggle, but was able to kind of limit damage and avoid really big innings after that first Korea start, that's so important as you're trying to adapt and figure out who you are at the MLB level. And to me, that was the biggest takeaway for me from him tonight.
You know what else was kind of cool this week, I thought, was that our co-host from last night, Dr. Neil Elatraj, really got his due. Taro Abe of the Chunichi newspapers wrote that Dr. Elatraj has hands of God.
I mean, you know.
Not to overlook our colleague, Bill Plaschke.
You just want to keep, turning the knife on Plaschke not being here now?
No, Plaschke has been honored by the LA Press Club Lifetime Achievement Award.
incredibly. And now,
and I think we got him there, right? He had not won this
right,
award
until
he got on this
debate onto the
that was the last thing
list.
He had to check off.
That's right,
right?
Because he hadn't done enough TV work or debating or anything like that.
No. Well, Around the Horn is too like lowbrow.
Oh,
you know,
he had to win intellectual minds with you on Dodger Debate.
I still don't like the title of this show. I really don't. Like,
hey, we dropped the. Are you looking forward to your flight tomorrow?
Oh, it's gonna be so bad.
Dylan's been like very sick this week.
I know.
If you can't tell by like just the waterfalls of sweat that have been coming down the sides of his head, but
I mean, it could just be like I'm just like a pig.
All right, well, yeah, on that note, it was a fun week here in Tokyo.
It wasn't for me, man. I was just like holed up in my hotel room, like dying while you were out at capybara bars.
Hey,
this guy's like sending me,
bars,
this guy's sending me, hey, look at this video, look at this capybara. King Taco, I'm coming back. Be ready.
Tommy's Burgers on Rampart. We're coming for you next Thursday at midnight because that's when the Dodgers home opener will be. They have their Freeway Series games against the Angels, but they will return home 2-0, and with a lot of, and I think this part's true, like a lot of cool memories for them and the organization, and I think the fan base too, either people that were here or people that were following along with everything that went on over here, because it was a big week, it was an exciting week.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm gonna miss about this place though? It's that I was like kind of like mildly famous here.
Mister, it's not my work that they like. It's just I'm around Ohtani.
Well, I do think that's true. I mean, people get famous by, and I was a very good celebrity. I took pictures with everybody. I asked them.
I'm ending this show before Dylan indulges his celebrity anymore. If you see Dylan, do not come up to him. He is not famous. We are just messing around when we do this show, and we can't wait to do it again when we get back to the States.
東京ドームが歓声に包まれた。歓声というより、むしろ地響きのような轟音だった。佐々木朗希、日本が誇る令和の怪物がついにメジャーのマウンドに立った。ロサンゼルス、ドジャースの一員として迎えた MLB デビュー戦、対するはシカゴ、カブス。しかし、この夜、すべての視線はただ一人、佐々木朗希に注がれていた。試合開始の瞬間、誰もが息を飲んだ。佐々木の右腕から放たれたのは、まさに異次元の強し速球。初球からいきなり100マイルを超える速球を投げ込み、球場は騒然となった。いや、これはまだ序章に過ぎなかった。続くボールは101、102、そして最速164キロを記録。まるで流星のように打者の元へと突き刺さるその強し速球に、カブスの打者たちは完全に翻弄された。さらに衝撃を与えたのは、彼の決め球である魔球スプリットだ。このスプリットはもはや物理法則を無視したかのような変化を見せる。鋭く落ちるその軌道はまるで奈落へと吸い込まれるかのようだった。バッターたちは必死にバットを振るが空を切るばかり。ファウルすら許されぬこの球にカブス打線はただただ沈黙するしかなかった。しかし試練も待ち受けていた。2回、佐々木は突如として制球に苦しみ連続四球を与えてしまう。まさに強し速球の怪物が未完の超逸材であることを示す場面だった。しかしここからが佐々木朗希の進化だ。走者がたまるも彼は一切動じなかった。球速こそ落ちることなく鋭いスライダーと組み合わせ見事に後続を断ち切った。そして3回、最大の危機が訪れる。満塁のピンチを迎え一打逆転の場面。しかしここで佐々木は覚醒した。まずはカウントを追い込み最後に放たれたのはまさに神業ともいえるスプリット。打者は完全にタイミングを外され力なく空振り三振。スタジアムは爆発するような歓声に包まれた。そして極めつけは次の打者。カウントを整えた佐々木は真っ向勝負を選択する。そして渾身の163キロの強し速球がホームプレートへと向かう。打者はまるで打てるはずがないと悟ったかのように動きを止め見逃し三振。試合を通して不安定な部分もあったがこの場面こそが彼の真の実力を示す瞬間だった。試合後監督のデーブ・ロバーツはこう語った。彼はまさにスーパーヒーローだ。これだけの大舞台であれほどのプレッシャーの中最高の投球を見せた。これは並の選手にはできないことだ。さらにチームメイトたちも彼の球は次元が違う と口を揃えて称賛した。この試合を終えて、多くのファンや評論家たちは一つの結論にたどり着いた。佐々木朗希は、ただの新人ではない。彼は未来の MLB の支配者になる可能性を秘めている。これまでメジャーに挑戦した日本人投手たち、ダルビッシュ有、田中将大、大谷翔平、山本由伸、彼らが築いてきた歴史の上に、佐々木朗希が新たな伝説を刻む時が来たのだ。彼の武器は、強し速球だけではない。スプリットの変幻自在な軌道、スライダーの鋭さ、そして何よりも精神力の強さがある。今日の試合で見せた、逆境の中で覚醒する姿勢は、まさにエースの証明だった。制球に苦しみながらも、最後には圧倒的なピッチングで抑え込む。その姿に、かつてニューヨーク、メッツで伝説を築いたドワイト、グッデンの姿を重ねたものも多かった。しかし、これはまだ序章に過ぎない。これから彼がどこまで進化を遂げるのか、MLB 全体が注目している。課題として指摘されたクイックモーションの改善、走者を意識した投球、スタミナの向上、これらを克服したとき、彼は誰もが認める MLB 最強の投手となるだろう。次の登板では、彼がどのような進化を遂げるのか、その強し速球はさらに冴え渡るのか、スプリットはさらに絶望的な落差を生み出すのか、世界が注目する佐々木朗希の戦いは、まだ始まったばかりだ。ファンの皆さん、次の試合も決して見逃してはならない。伝説が今、幕を開けたのだから。